Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz. I've done this show for a little bit, but we're moving into a different type of thing, and I have a co-host with me, and his name is Thomas, as you can see on the screen. Thomas, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. Excited to be joining you on this adventure. Let's talk about some Oscar stuff.
Yeah. We consistently talk about the Oscars on our spare time, and like I was trying to reshape how I wanted to do my show, and you also have a YouTube channel where you do cool stuff. We'd hosted podcasts before; it made sense. So Thomas is here for Oscar Buzz. If you don't like him, then I don't know what to tell you. Uh, yeah, you just want to jump right into it. Talk about some Oscar news.
Sure.
All right. Let's kick off with the news, then we can go into trailers, and then end up with our Oscar buzz on new releases. So George Clooney, he has that new film, The Tender Bar, and it's going to get an awards qualifying release December 17th, and then it's going to come out on Prime December 22nd, and it is going to be premiering though at BFI London Film Festival, and that's where you live.
Don't give it away.
Sorry. It's not like people couldn't tell from your accent. I know London isn't all of England, but like, that's what people just assume. I love that it's like, don't give away that I'm in London, a city with millions of people. Now they're all going to find me.
Yeah.
So The Tender Bar. Do you know anything about this?
I have not heard anything about this. Like, literally nothing.
So it's Ben Affleck, Ty Sheridan, and Christopher Lloyd, and then Lily Rabe that are leading it. George Clooney is directing, and it's a coming-of-age drama. So the only plot we know is a boy seeks a replacement for his father, who disappears shortly after his birth, and bonds with his uncle and the patrons at a bar. So the Oscars do like people bonding with their uncle after their father died, Manchester by the Sea. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this has any Oscars potential?
Honestly, not really. I think, it might be something they go for. As you said previously, Manchester by the Sea was something along similar lines, but it just feels like this concept will be slightly dated for them. It's George Clooney's not had a great track record at directing films. Ben Affleck as well has been in a few not very good films recently.
Wait, I just realized that this is just Manchester by the Sea, but with a different Affleck. You can move on.
Yeah, so it might be something they go for, but then again, there's not been much real marketing or any hype up to this point. And for a film to get like Best Picture, any proper big award, you'd expect to have had something before this point. Yeah, it might be something they go for, but I doubt it.
If anything, this is a screenplay movie. Yeah. If anything, I don't see it getting anything else. It's like you said, George Clooney. George Clooney has done good movies, but like recently, even just last year with The Midnight Sky, he hasn't been the best recently. I don't have a ton of faith in this, but who knows? This, it could come out and surprise us, but I don't see it doing a lot, if I'm being completely honest. So The Tragedy of Macbeth. So we got a trailer that we'll be talking about a bit later. So it premiered at New York Film Festival. It's got a 93 on Metacritic. That's pretty big.
That is pretty big.
It's at a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, where do you think this movie's going? We can touch on the trailer a bit here as well. Like, thoughts on the trailer and thoughts on Oscar potential for Tragedy of Macbeth.
I think this has a great amount of potential for the Oscars. Like, I really do. They love a black and white film, Hollywood and the Oscars. So this looks right up their street. It's got a stacked cast. Obviously, it's got Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, to only name the leads. It's by A24. I mean, what more do you want really from a film? And the trailer looked phenomenal, and the fact that it's got a 93% on Metacritic and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes just fills me with more excitement. Yeah, this film I think is going to be amazing. Like, in all honesty, amazing. I said it to you this and June are probably tied for my most anticipated film of coming up of this year that has Oscar potential. Obviously, Spider-Man: No Way Home, but we're talking about Oscars here. And yeah, the trailer looked incredible. I love the sort of production design that they're going for here. All the cinematography looks great, and yeah, really looking forward to this film.
Yeah, it's this and French Dispatch for me that are my two most anticipated. I know your thoughts on Wes Anderson,
Yeah.
but he's quite honestly my favorite director. So I'm always going to be excited for whatever he does next. I'm a bit spotty on Coen Brothers. Like I generally like their stuff, though this is just Joel, I believe.
Yeah. It doesn't look that, sort of
No.
Coen Brothersy though, which is interesting. I thought because they usually have a very clear style. This seems to be sort of straying away from that.
Yeah. So the one thing that like people have been saying that does feel like a Coen Brothers film is all the weird supporting characters, like very out there gimmicky supporting characters. And who it's Catherine something who plays the witches. I can't remember her name. She's supposed to be like incredible in the movie, from what people have been saying. But yeah, like this movie is. I'm going to call it right now. This movie is winning cinematography.
Okay, well, cool.
I mean, I think it's going to get nominated for production design. It's probably going to get an editing nom. Probably going to get a director nom. Probably both acting noms.
I think maybe Frances McDormand is slightly more on the bubble, but I think Denzel Washington is in basically at this point.
So yeah, Denzel is definitely in, and I think it's between like it's him versus Will Smith versus Benedict Cumberbatch at this point for lead actor. I don't see you have Joaquin Phoenix, you have Peter Dinklage.
Yeah,
I don't see them getting in. Well, I see them getting nominated, but not winning, I should say. Actress is really interesting because I think we have our clear front runners with Kristen Stewart, Jessica Chastain, and Lady Gaga. And then after that, it's really weird because you have Jennifer Hudson in Respect. Yeah. You have Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers. You have Frances McDormand, Tragedy of Macbeth. You have Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter. I mean, you have Jodie Comer in The Last Duel. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, even like Rachel Zegler in West Side Story.
Yeah.
Like, best actress for those last two spots is going to be really interesting. Who do you have getting in right now for actress?
So currently I have Jennifer Hudson going in because they also, alongside loving a black and white film, they love a musical biopic. And if you're playing the lead in a musical biopic, you will definitely at least be in contention for the spot. And then I do think it comes down to Frances McDormand or Penelope Cruz. I think Penelope Cruz is probably the more out there pick. I could definitely see the Oscars going for it. And Frances McDormand, I mean, she's Frances McDormand. She's won the award 3 times, so I could definitely see her going in. Currently, I probably would choose Penelope Cruz, just because I said it last year that they may be worried about having Frances McDormand win 2 years in a row. I still think that there may be some hesitation to have had her won last year and nominated again this year. I still think there might be some sort of hesitation there, so she might get in.
And that would be 3 in 5 years as well, because of 3 billboards. So, yeah. We also can't forget about Cate Blanchett in Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
She could make a surge. I mean, Caitriona Balfe in Belfast. Like, it's a really, really tight category this year. Be very, very interesting. But yeah, I love this trailer. So here's what's interesting. I could see this missing screenplay and picture.
Missing picture?
Okay. I think missing picture.
Currently, it's definitely up there as one of the contenders for picture. I think it will get it in all honesty, but I don't necessarily know about screenplay though. But because it is in like Old English Macbeth English, correct?
Yeah.
So I could see the awards, the Oscars not really gelling with that. So maybe screenplay will be a miss, but I definitely think it's got to be at the top of the list in terms of best picture, probably.
Yeah, it's gonna be close, especially with it being 10 nominees. So I think it's right on the bubble though. But yeah, and then with screenplay, I mean, this has been pointed out before, but like only one other time has a Shakespeare adaptation been nominated for screenplay.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, and like you were saying with it being in Old English, I don't see like this definitely feels like a much more performance and stylistic driven film rather than like a very like dialogue heavy film.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but regardless, I'm very, very excited for this movie. What else? So Alejandro Inarritu's new film, it's going to be based in Mexico. It's Mexican produced, and it's going to be this dramedy titled Bardo. It's going to coming of age dramedy. So thoughts on this and its Oscars potential?
I mean, I'm not gonna even try and pronounce his name. He's a good director. He's directed both Revenant and Birdman. He hasn't done much recently, like properly recently. So I could see them just like I can see any recency bias just gone out the window because he's directing a new film, and they're probably a lot of people in the Oscars are probably very excited. You know, the last two films he's directed have done very well. Will that carry over? I presume this will be a good film. He's a very competent director, obviously. And if it's anything like the other two, I think it definitely will be contending for Oscars.
Yeah, so this looks like it's going to be coming out next year. It
Yeah.
definitely isn't making it this year. Because next year's going to be interesting. I mean, we have this, we have Canterbury Glass. It looks like we're going to have Blonde, Andrew Dominic's film within the Darmus, the Marilyn Monroe biopic. The Northman from Robert Eggers.
The new Chazelle one coming out next year.
What was that?
New Chazelle one, Damien Chazelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's next year.
Or Babylon. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Babylon. Being the Ricardos, I think, is coming out next year. Next Skull Wins. Taika Waititi's new film.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot next year. So it's interesting. So this isn't confirmed about the production of this film with Inarritu, but it's being reported that he didn't follow COVID guidelines, which ended in the death of a couple of his production team.
Yeah.
So do you think that hurts its chances at all?
I honestly think that does. But actually, I didn't know about that context. Will it hurt too much? I think, honestly, sadly, by the time next year rolls around, and by the time we are actually talking about it, exactly, it might have been forgotten by then. If it was coming out this year, I think that would play slightly more of a pivotal factor. But if it's next year, I don't see it hurting it too much. Although it could still hurt it just a bit.
Depends on if there's lawsuits and how far they go.
Yeah.
Like if there's still lawsuits going on by the time next season rolls around, then that could hurt it. But it'll be interesting regardless. Next season's going to be really fun. I mean, this season's already really fun. Got lots of stuff to look forward to.
We've only just started. So.
I know. Okay, so an Oscar frontrunner is rumored to be 3 hours long, and it's almost confirmed that it's House of Gucci. Yes, please. This is giving me major Wolf of Wall Street vibes.
Yeah.
This feels like Ridley Scott's Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm completely here for it. So I feel like the Adam Driver hype has kind of died down for actor. Do you think that he'll get nominated?
I still think there's a chance. I honestly, at this point, think he has more of a chance than Joaquin Phoenix of getting maybe that fifth nomination that we don't really, or even the fourth one as well. We don't know who's really going to get in. But I think the fifth one as well, I presume Peter Dinklage will be getting that role. But I think Adam Driver could still get in. I think there is something to be said about maybe recognizing him for House of Gucci is also recognizing him for Annette. So it's sort of like both those roles is one that's being the representative of it. I think there's a case that could be made for that. As for the 3 hour runtime, it's long. That is long. And I honestly don't think I'll be massively into House of Gucci from what the trailers have showed me. The whole aesthetic of it and the production design and all that kind of stuff. I honestly don't think it'll really be my thing, but I'll still definitely be excited to check it out. And I still will, go into hoping for the best at least.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a screenplay and editing movie. I So this is another one. So like a lot of the major picture contenders, I could see being flops. Briefly touching on actor, there's also Bradley Cooper to think about in Nightmare Alley, for the fourth, fifth slot. But like,
isn't he supporting? Oh no, sorry, that's for Licorice Pizza. Sorry.
Yeah. But like, I could see Licorice Pizza flopping. I could see, I mean, House of Gucci flopping. I could see Tragedy of Macbeth like potentially flopping with Oscar voters.
Yeah.
I could see Don't Look Up flopping with Oscar voters. Like, I could see French Dispatch and Coda flopping with like. There's a lot of major contenders that like, if they're good, they're getting in. But if the Oscar voters are like on them, which I could see for a lot of these films, it's gonna be really interesting because then like you have all these things open up where like something like The Humans or Mass or Spencer or Tick Tick Boom or Lost Daughter could all of a sudden vault into picture contention. House of Gucci is gonna be interesting because they're like, I think Lady Gaga's still up there, but there were some people that definitely weren't into her accent that she was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. But the fact that it's 3 hours, I mean, I think there were test screenings yesterday, the first test screenings, and people liked it.
Right.
So that gives me a little hope.
Yeah. I mean, if it deserves a runtime, it deserves a runtime. My only worry is it might be too padded out, but we'll see. We'll see. It's not releasing for a while yet, so we'll see some more reactions first, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that Ridley Scott will get nominated for picture? Do you think Last Duel can sneak in?
No, in all honesty, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think The Last Duel has had any hype. I think if both will get in, both getting in is not going to happen. Ridley Scott will have to choose which one he wants to really push for, because I don't think they will nominate him twice. That doesn't feel like some of the Oscars would do. So I think he'll have to decide which one to choose, and I think he'll choose House of Gucci, and that one will probably get in though.
Yeah, Last Duel just feels like Jodie Comer is potentially contending, and then other than that, just like production design, costumes, and maybe sound.
Yeah, even now, I think is a push. I think, in all honesty, by the time the Oscars roll around, they will have forgotten all about The Last Duel.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so this is interesting. So day and date releases are now eligible for the DGA Awards, which is big because that means that Denis Villeneuve is now eligible for the DGA Awards. Because like he's a major contender for director. Like really, really big. And initially he was not going to be eligible. They made that rule, I think, in June that day and date films would not be eligible for their awards. So do you think that this helps him at all for his Oscars push, that he can now be nominated at DGA?
I think it does help. Definitely that if you do look at the Best Director Oscars, you do also look at the DGA to gauge a good understanding of what sort of things they're going for. The directing category this year is stacked though. Like it's got a lot. It's got Guillermo del Toro, Paul Thomas Anderson, Joel Cohen, as we mentioned earlier, and there's just a lot of Kenneth Branagh as well.
Campion.
Up there. Yeah. So I think if any of the big contenders are going to miss out, weirdly, I think it might be Denis Villeneuve. Did I say it right?
Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I'm learning. And yeah, but I think this does help, and I think this is a sign of the new age of consuming cinema with the day and date release. I think something has to be said about prestigious, sort of like the DGA going for day and date movies and saying, we are counting this now. I think there is something very important that can be said about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, I feel like COVID happening was kind of the push for all of these awards to kind of accept streaming movies and day and date movies a bit more. And quite honestly, I think that a lot of awards contenders will start doing this. Just because I think that theaters are going to really move to just showing like blockbuster films, and we'll see a lot of smaller films and like art type films getting day and day or just pure streaming releases with like theatrical releases in just New York and LA. Which will be interesting. Like it'll be different to adjust to that. But the nice thing is it also makes Oscar movies way more accessible for people. Which previously wasn't a thing. I mean, with like Parasite, that wasn't available on Hulu until like the summer after the Oscars. So like, it can. I mean, you were able to see it because you're in London, in the theaters. So you're in one of the bigger cities that's going to get major releases. But like, the closest city that's going to get releases to this for me is Chicago, which is like 3 hours away. So it's nice having this option. Like I would, with Tragedy of Macbeth, I would love to see that in a theater, but likely I'm just going to see it on Apple TV, a week later.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take, but I do think that in the end, this is the better move. But yeah, I do completely agree though. I think that if anybody's getting dropped out, Denis Villeneuve is the one. Bold prediction. I don't even know if I completely believe in this myself. I could see Dune just getting tech noms. And completely missing out on picture, director, and screenplay.
Yeah, I think there is some. I don't know about screenplay. In all honesty, I think there is a chance for it, but I think looking at how big the film will probably and hopefully be with audiences, I think the Oscars will be reluctant to let that one just not get into Best Picture, because at the end of the day, the Oscars is still trying to get attention, trying to get fans, and if it's just going to be made up of independent films, which if they're the best films, they're the best films, but at the end of the day, it is a business. They do need to make money, so there is something to be said about putting these popular films like Dune and potentially West Side Story, even if it's not really, even if it's like middling tier Steven Spielberg, I can see it just getting in off the fact it's a big movie that's coming out.
Yeah, that's fair. I hope that they don't do the thing where they like do all the tech stuff during commercial breaks, which is being rumored.
Well, that wouldn't be good. I wouldn't.
That would be, yeah, like moving all of the short films and all of the like production design, makeup and hair, costumes, visual effects, sound, cinematography, and editing would all be in commercial breaks. And like the show would just be like an hour and a half long and just focus on the above the line stuff. Which would be
not good.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. Last couple of news pieces before we jump into trailers. Jessica Chastain is sweeping at Festival Awards for Best Actress. Sweeping. It's crazy that Kristen Stewart hasn't won a single award at a festival.
Yeah.
It's all been Chastain and Penelope Cruz.
Yeah, I think at this point, Chastain is a lock for Best Actress. Yeah. I also do, even though, as you said, she wasn't getting many awards at festivals, I do still think Kristen Stewart is almost at a lock, because she's playing a member of the royal family. That's something that the Oscars might, definitely will go for.
She's winning the BAFTA. Yeah, we already know that. So.
Exactly. So, I think this is to be expected. I think any good rumors about this film were Jessica Chastain's performance. There was some talk about Andrew Garfield, but really what I've heard about the film, the star of the show, is Jessica Chastain. And if you are an actress and you are the star of the show, the Oscars will look at that and think that is someone we'll go for as Best Actress. So at this point, I think she's a lock and definitely has to be the favourite for winning as well, actually.
Yeah, it's actors voting on this. Like, I think so. Like, if I had to predict like the precursors, I think that she's probably getting SAG. Chastain's getting SAG. Then Spencer with Kristen Stewart is going to be getting BAFTA. And then, like, I honestly feel like Critics' Choice is going to be the decider on who's the favorite, because I could see them going with either one. Or they could just go completely out there and go with like Olivia Colman or something, or Frances McDormand. So we don't know. But it's definitely going to be a really, really interesting race this year. But if I had to say, like, I would almost say right now, Jessica Chastain is a lock for SAG and Kristen Stewart is a lock for BAFTA to win. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting race. All right, let's move into some footage stuff. We got a Don't Look Up clip. From Tudum, the Netflix Comic-Con thing.
Stupid name, by the way. Anyone in charge of marketing needs to be fired. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, No, that's fair. Sorry to all of our Netflix marketing executives
Yeah.
that watch the show. I apologize, everybody. Um, yeah. Thoughts on this clip?
Yeah, I have the same reaction to you. It was not great. It was not a great showcase for the film. I don't think. Yes, it looks like it might be one of those pivotal scenes in the movies. In the movie, it does sort of show what's going to sort of be happening in it, the sort of tone they're going for. But it was not just. It was not a good clip at demonstrating the comedy that they probably are hoping to come through with this. I mean, it's Adam McKay, so you'd expect there to be at least some element of comedy in it. And yes, as it does have all the big players in, which you sort of want out of a clip like this. It does have Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill. And
Meryl
Jonah Hill
Streep.
was, sorry, I forgot Meryl Streep. Jonah Hill was maybe the best part of the clip. I think he was the only bit that really thought, yeah, you look like you fit in a movie like this. I don't. Leonardo DiCaprio in a Chris McKay movie. Oh, sorry, Adam McKay movie. Chris McKay's the other one. I don't know if that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
He didn't really feel like he fit into the whole sort of tone they were setting it. I just didn't think it was a very good clip, in all honesty.
I hate the score. I hate this score. It was crazy that somebody figured out that between the actors in this clip, Adam McKay directing, the editing, the cinematography, and the score, there's collectively 44 Oscar nominations present in those 2 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
So just that alone, like, this movie's going to get Oscar attention. I could see this movie completely flopping and like film Twitter hating it though. I mean, like, people already didn't like Vice, which I think Vice is fine. I actually do really like The Big Short.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of fun. I think that Vice is definitely a step down, and I feel like this is just going to continue a downward trajectory for Adam McKay after he made the move into making awards contenders. So it'll be interesting, but yeah, we watched the clip before, and then I think that this movie is going to be a disaster. Like, I think it's like with with the cast and all the build up and hype. I think that this movie is completely going to fall apart.
I'm so excited to watch it though.
Oh, agreed.
The clip didn't put me off so much that I'm not excited to see the movie. I don't want to see it. I don't want to even see it. It wasn't that bad of a clip, but it just didn't do anything to, further my anticipation towards it, really, which is a problem because out of a clip, that's what you want to have done.
Yeah, I don't see any acting nominations happening here.
Oh, no.
People are trying to say DiCaprio and Lawrence, but that's not happening. Sorry, Meryl Streep isn't happening. Maybe she gets a Golden Globe because she's Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. Like, this could fit into the comedy musical category pretty well with the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Which I do think are gonna still hand out awards even if there's no ceremony. So
we'll see.
Yeah, but this, I don't know. Like, it's gonna get an editing nomination because there's lots of editing. And they showed that with Bohemian Rhapsody. They don't care about if the editing is good. But it's just if you do lots of edits, then you get an Oscar nomination and maybe even win. So there's lots of edits in this movie, so it's probably going to get an editing nomination.
Yeah.
But yeah, not that excited about this movie's potential, I should say, because I am still excited to see it. We got a trailer for The Worst Person in the World. Thoughts?
I thought it was a bit generic, in all honesty. As I said to you before the show, as we were watching it, I thought nothing about this film really stood out and felt distinctive. It sort of just fell into it's a romance film, which the Oscars do like. I don't know how much attention this will get. I think it will probably get Best International Feature. Whether it will win is a different question. There were some nice shots in here. The carpet shot where she's falling back, I thought that was looked well done, and that was the only real bit about the trailer that I thought, okay, that I've not seen that before. That's unique, but the rest of it just sort of very forgettable. In all honesty,
I've heard people compare this to Before Sunrise.
Okay,
which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I'm aware.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. No.
Ooh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's also interesting to this is part of his like quote unquote Oslo trilogy, which is this movie set in Oslo. There's no like story connection. Kind of like the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy. But like I could see them getting that. Like it's this is a major foreign film contender or international feature contender. People loved it at Cannes. They said I'm going to butcher this name. Renata Reinsve, the lead actress. I said that horribly. Thomas's face described it all. I could see her maybe making a push. Like if she gets a bunch of critics behind her, like New York, LA, and then Critics' Choice, maybe she gets a push. Maybe. I've seen people try and push this for screenplay, but yeah, I think that like the only thing that I feel confident about is international feature. But it looks fun. Like it's romance movies are fun.
Yeah.
Looks fun. Let's see. Let's talk about Passing. Rebecca Hall, I believe it's her directorial debut, starring Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson. That's the name of that other person. What were your thoughts? Also, Alexander Skarsgård looks great.
Yeah, I thought that automatically this trailer is more interesting, but it should be, because I mean, if you're not making a 4:3 black and white trailer interesting, you are doing something very, very wrong.
Yes.
I did click on about midway through that there's probably a reason for it to be black and white. It's like symbolic of whatever this movie is trying to say, which is fun. It's love a bit of symbolism. And as in terms of awards push, I don't see it getting very much, in all honesty.
No.
I think both actresses are not going to be getting in. I doubt Rebecca might be the only person I can see slipping in there somewhere. I can see maybe cinematography, but there's another black and white film, Tragedy of Macbeth, as well. So
Belfast.
And Belfast, I've even forgot about. So there are 3 black and white films already in there in the cinematography category. So I don't know if it will get in there. I don't know. I feel like it's a good trailer. It's made me somewhat anticipating the film more than I had previously. I hadn't heard very much about the film at all, other than the fact it starred Tessa Thompson. That's because she's a big actress. So it did something right, at least.
Yeah, there's lots of black and white because there's also Come On with Joaquin Phoenix.
That's black and white as well.
So there's plenty of black. I mean, half of French Dispatch is in black and white, and we know that's probably going to get cinematography. So like, imagine if those are just the 5 cinematography nominations this year. Like, we love black and white. But yeah, this trailer looks very Oscar baity. Very, very Oscar baity, which sometimes works. I mean, not to compare this movie to Green Book, but like Green Book, very Oscar baity, tackled race, right? I think that this movie will do it a lot better, but that's not a very high bar.
No, I'm going to disagree with that. I do enjoy Green Book, but carry on.
Really? Okay. But yeah, it just looked fine. You mentioned Rebecca Hall. I think that she has no shot in director. If anything, she's getting a screenplay nom.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is she has more chance even than the actresses of getting in.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, I don't know. Ruth Negga has a shot. I think. I do think that she has a chance to sneak in, especially if they can paint her in supporting. I think she has a chance.
Yeah, if they can get both in supporting, there is something that could be said about that.
If they pull off like a Lakeith Stanfield category fraud and just put them both in supporting, maybe. But yeah, I could see this movie like maybe getting some critics awards. Maybe it could get like a BAFTA or 2. I don't see the Oscars really going for it though.
No.
Let's see. We got a full trailer for Spencer. I could not be more excited for this movie. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, I mean, period pieces as a general rule are not really my thing. And this does look pretty generic period piece. esque, but I am looking forward more than anything about this film to see Kristen Stewart in the part.
Yeah.
That is, if it wasn't her and if it wasn't all the hype that is surrounding her, I don't know if I'd even be there excited about the film. In all honesty, there's not much about this film that really compels me to go and watch it. I think this trailer was serviceable. You know, it did its job. It highlighted what's going to be happening in the film, the sort of tone they're trying to be building here, and it showed us a lot of Kristen Stewart in the part, which is what you want out of a trailer like this.
So I would disagree. I think that this looks very different than other period pieces because it's Pablo Larraín, who did Jackie. I think that this movie is going to get a lot more than Jackie did because Jackie was just actress, score, and costumes, I think. I think this will get all three of those, but I think this is going to get cinematography. I think this is going to get production design. I could,
yeah.
Like, so here's the other thing. So with cinematography here, one, I think it looks great. And two, I believe if it gets nominated, the woman would only be the second female cinematographer in history to get nominated. Which I could see a narrative that the Oscars would want to get behind.
Yeah.
So, but I could see this getting into screenplay. I think that like people really love Pablo Larraín. I think that like they know that they messed up and not giving more stuff to Jackie, and I think that they want to redeem it. Because I think that Jackie was very well done. Quick question though. Would you like to see him complete a trilogy of making these weird, disorienting films about famous female figures? And who would you want to see the third one be?
Well, I think we'll have to see what this one is like.
Yeah.
Because if this isn't really for me, then I'm not sure. But I definitely would be interested to see him make another one. And in terms of who, I think that is a good question. I think I'd love to see him make one about Elizabeth the First. Really go back in history. I could see him doing something very fun with that. I think there are a lot of films about Elizabeth First, but I think he could bring something maybe new, fresh, distinctive into that sort of world, and I think that could be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. What I think would be very interesting is I don't know who, but maybe to do something with Emma Watson.
Okay.
Because I feel like that she just fits in with Natalie Portman, Kristen Stewart. Emma Watson just kind of feels like the next natural progression. Okay, this is out there. What do you think about Emma Watson doing Jane Austen?
Yeah, I think that could definitely work. That could definitely work, actually.
I just on the spot bringing something up. I think that it could work though. I want to see him do something with Emma Watson. Because even though I don't think Emma Watson is like the best actress in the world, I think it would be nice to see her get a nomination for something. And Pablo Larraín is, we know that Kristen Stewart's getting nominated. Like I think at this point, I would go as far to say she's a lock.
Yeah, I think her are locked in.
Yeah, but overall, just very excited for Spencer. All right, two more trailers. The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne. This movie is getting 0 Oscars or nominations.
Yeah, I think the only one that would have been a chance would have been Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's in Power of a Dog as well. And since that film is obviously going to do so much better, it will be that performance that will gain. Even if his role in this film is better, it's not going to be nominated over Power of a Dog. Like we'll need to see both films to really decide which performance is actually better. It could very well be that he is better in this film, but either way, it won't be noticed. This trailer as a whole, we mentioned earlier before the show, it gave me very distinct flashbacks to personal history of David Copperfield. In the fact, it was long, it was giving away a lot of the plot. And that to me is a sign of a bad film, in all honesty, not just a bad trailer, a bad film, because you are needing to throw so much out of the plot there. There was a lot of just shots and scenery and all that kind of stuff. That to me was just showing us, look how pretty this film is, watch it, rather than giving us actual reasons to watch it. Rather, it was just showing us the sort of things we'd expect, and overall didn't compel me as a trailer to watch the film.
In all honesty, it did look very pretty.
It did look very pretty. I'll give it that.
It did look pretty. But yeah, I mean, Claire Foy looked fine. Benedict Cumberbatch looked actually pretty decent, but like, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, the cinematography looked like fun, but like this movie seemed so scattered. Like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like I don't understand. I thought it was about him painting cats, but then he does but like now he's experimenting with electricity. Like the other two, yeah, the other two movies that gave me flashbacks to were Radioactive, the Mary Curie biopic from last year, and The Current War from 2019.
Oh, yeah, that was not a good film, The Current War.
So I feel like it's just its critic scores have been pretty high. It's been like in the 80s. For people who saw it at TIFF in Venice. But I just don't think this movie's going anywhere. Like the only way it is going to get any nominations this season is at critic awards. That's the only thing I see it getting. All right, last trailer, Licorice Pizza.
Yeah.
So I guess Alana Haim is the lead.
Yeah, if Paul Thomas Anderson's name wasn't attached to the project, it's very clear that it is him they are promoting. This is his film rather than this is the film within its own right, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I think that is slightly a problem to me. I think with both the lead actors, they're obviously new. I don't think they've ever been in films before, or at least not big ones, which is interesting and could be definitely
their debuts.
Yeah, exactly.
So
definitely could be fun to see. Bradley Cooper looks fun in his part. He does look like he'll be very enjoyable to watch, to say the least. But overall, it just didn't do anything interesting to me. It just showed us it's going to be a film about a young couple falling in love. I mean, we've seen that 100 times before. So
yeah,
it didn't really get me excited about the film. I want to see it because it's Paul Thomas Anderson rather than I want to see it because it looks like a good film.
Yeah. For anybody who thought he was getting a screenplay Oscar for this, it's not happening. Or just an Oscar of any kind. Paul Thomas Anderson is not winning an Oscar for this.
No.
There's already like it's just not happening. This isn't the movie that's going to do it for him. I've seen people compare it a lot to like Boogie Nights. It also kind of gives like Almost Famous vibes, which I know isn't PTA. But just like the only thing that really stood out to me was Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't know how much of the movie he's going to be in. He could just be in like 5 scenes. We don't know. Sean Penn as well. Like we don't know how much of the movie he's going to be in. He looked fun for the parts that he was in, but like I don't know. This is another one. I hate to be so negative. I think that this movie could flop. Just like Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
I really think that it could flop. Like I think that critically, like we could see this in like the 40s.
Well,
like okay. I think that it's gonna be like more like Inherent Vice type stuff. Even though this is trying to be more accessible, I think that this movie is just gonna be so bland. I really do. Which is unfortunate because I like PTA. I wanted to see him get an Oscar, but I don't think that this is the movie.
Maybe next time.
Think this is it. Maybe next time, Paul. Just like David Fincher with Mank. It was like people like he's gonna get his no. This isn't the one. I even love Mank. I think that Mank is one of the best movies of last year. That wasn't the movie that was gonna get David Fincher's Oscar. Come on, guys. But yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Well, should we talk about some new releases and their Oscar potential? So I saw Dear Evan Hansen. You saw Many Saints of Newark. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So Many Saints of Newark I was in the fortunate position, obviously living in the UK. Many Saints of Newark was released earlier than in the US, so I'll keep it spoiler free, obviously. In all honesty, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, there is something that you can still gain out of watching this film. I still think there is stuff to enjoy. All the gangster, mob action, that kind of stuff. All the performances are good. The screenplay is very tightly written, but there isn't much for you in this film. It will definitely be better if you have seen The Sopranos. It will definitely serve you well because I think there are a lot of things that carry over directly from The Sopranos, and you can point out cameos, and there's little people that appear in The Sopranos and appear later on in that series that appear here, and it's just fun to point out, and it's definitely a fun entry into the franchise. I don't know if it's a necessary one. It doesn't do much in terms of reinventing the world that The Sopranos lives in. I think Michael Gandolfini was good. He really did resemble his father. Like quite shockingly, quite uncanny the parallels that he had. He was a very good performance in this. But he is not the main part of the movie. He is not the main role. So if you are going into this thinking he is the main character, you're wrong. He does have a major part in it, but the main character is not him. It did make me very happy to hear the Sopranos theme song live, like on a big screen. That was very good. When it comes in at the end, that was very very fun to watch. And the whole film, it doesn't have a very satisfying conclusion, in my opinion. I won't spoil what happened in the conclusion, but being a prequel, that is a problem I have with a lot of prequels because we know where the story's going. That story is one that actually comes to a nice conclusion, whereas this is a prequel. So how can it really? I think it does balance it better than a lot of films like Rogue One. I don't think that had a very satisfying conclusion at all. I thought this was a lot better in doing that. And in terms of Oscar potential, not very much. I don't see it really getting into any categories. I can see this walking home with 0 nominations.
What about in any of the precursors? Like, do you think it gets anything?
Honestly, not. I don't think it'll be a major hit with the critics. Has been a history of these gangster action sort of flicks getting doing well. Goodfellas obviously is the one that comes to mind. The Departed, they do well, but they're all by Martin Scorsese. They all have Scorsese's name attached to it. I just don't see this one really being a hit with critics.
Yeah, so it's at a 66 right now on Metacritic.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think that this would have had to be in high 80s, low 90s to get any Oscar attention. But yeah, so I've never seen The Sopranos, but I'm definitely still looking forward to seeing it. And the ending might even work better for me not knowing where everything is going.
Maybe I could see that happening.
So Dear Evan Hansen was trash. So this, okay. So again, I think that the Golden Globes are still happening. There's no ceremony. This movie is going to crush it in comedy musical. Ben Platt's probably going to win or something. I don't know. It's getting nominated for best comedy musical at the Golden Globes. That's happening. Amy Adams is probably going to get a supporting actress nomination. The Golden Globes are going to love it. The Oscars are going to hate it. And literally every other ceremony. The only Oscar potential I think it has is Anonymous Ones from Amandla Sternberg, which she actually wrote, which is really cool. And I want to see her get an Oscar nomination because she's really the only thing that made this movie watchable. I really, really identified with her character. I think what she does with her character really, really works. But the movie on a whole just doesn't know how to handle mental health. It tackles things like anxiety and depression and then uses them as just plot devices rather than the emotional core of the story. So then it just feels so fake and all of the heart that this movie is supposed to have is just non-existent. The transitions into the songs were pretty terrible. They felt so awkward. All of the music cues are the exact same going into the songs. I can see why this worked on stage and it should have stayed on the stage because it does not work in the slightest with this. It really does not work. I think I put it at a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and that was purely because of Amandla Stenberg. Now, as far as Oscar potential, I do think that Anonymous Ones could get in to original song. I really do think it could get in. But that's about it because this movie is not. Ugh. Yeah, this was frustratingly bad. But to end on that very happy note, that's the end of the first show. Yeah, I think that's everything. So we're gonna be doing the show every week. We are going to. So I haven't released any yet, but over the past like couple months, Thomas and I have been recording episodes of a show called Oscars Revised, which is just probably going to air in companion with this, where we take a random look at a category in a random year, and determine what we think should have won the Oscar that year, whether it's a person or a film. And decide if we think that the Oscars are right. So that will be coming along here. We have some fun ideas for the future of the show. But yeah, just excited to be talking Oscars all year round. But Thomas, where can the people find you?
You can find me at YouTube at Payman's Pictures, where I release one film-related content video every week for you to enjoy. Usually long-form content. There is no real structure. There was going to be structure, but then I sort of threw that out the window and started doing whatever I want. I just make whatever video I want, and I make one video a week. So you can go follow me there. Payman's Pictures.
Yeah, so I tried to do the structure thing too, and it didn't work for me. So I'm just basically doing the do whatever I want thing too. And you can find me here. So yeah, I'm just literally doing what I'm writing a video essay about a Canadian experimental documentary that nobody has seen. But gonna throw it out there. Because I don't care anymore. I'm doing whatever I want. Where can they find you on Letterboxd?
You can find me at Letterboxd at I think it's T_Gladstone. Go follow me on there for opinions about films.
Okay, I will say, I've been waiting to point this out to you. So you misspelled your username on there. So you have it at it's G. You have it spelled on there GLATDSON. You have Glatzone.
Yep, that will be changed immediately. Oh yeah, that is for. Now that you point it out, I can't believe I hadn't noticed that before. Yeah, I will change that immediately.
Point that out to you. You can find me at Trevor Madsen. I don't know if you can change it though, because like
change it.
You can't.
Okay, there we go. It's T_Glad_to_Sony. There we go. You can follow me there on Letterboxd.
I think if you just put in Thomas Gladstone, like your actual name, I think it still shows up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Why did you point that out? No, I can't stop looking at it. Yeah.
Well, it bothers me every time I look at your page. I'm like, that isn't how you spell your name. Well, yeah, but that's that's the show. But yeah, let us know if you enjoyed it. I won't take any of your feedback into consideration because I'm still going to do the show every week. But you're welcome to give feedback, and I'll probably read it, I guess. But that's the show. Thomas, anything you want to add before we head out?
No. Have a good evening, folks, or morning, or whenever you're watching this.
Whenever you want, have a good rest of the
have
time.
A good insert thing here.
Yes. Yeah. Should come up with like some kind of algorithm where it just like edits in or whatever we need, depending on when they're watching it. I'm sure there's somebody smart enough to do that.
Someone out there who'll do that for us.
It's not us, but somebody can. All right. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay safe. Goodbye.